The Northside-Southside Light Rail Study will be holding open houses to take public input on the possible expansion of MetroLink. Here from the East-West Gateway Council of Governments is Corridor Planning Coordinator Marcie Meystrik, and from Northside-Southside Study, Dan Meyers. Welcome, Marcie and Dan. So glad you guys to be here. This is always exciting in our town, St. Louis, to hear about the expansion of possible public transportation and the MetroLink. I know it's been in discussion for many years. How can we broaden that wonderful thing that we have getting us around town? So what have you guys got to tell us today? This has been going on for a long time, this discussion, I guess.
It has. In fact, this is about, I think, the third time that this line has been examined. A study, once we complete it, is only good for about 10 years. So the last one had a 10-year shelf life. So we're looking at it one more time, and hopefully.
So when you say three is the third time it's been studied, so from before the MetroLink was ever developed, is that what you mean, or since the first leg of the?
Since the first leg has been done. Yeah, we've
Okay.
looked at different expansion plans, and yeah, this is the third time we've looked at this one, but this time it has a very good chance of moving forward.
Okay. And so, Dan, with the right now the MetroLink we know runs primarily across the river on an east-west corridor and then heads a little bit south. So what is the plan for the next leg?
The next leg, as you just said, is, it's mostly east-west oriented with the red and blue line for MetroLink, and this would basically look at the north side to the south side. So we're starting up on the north side at Natural Bridge and Goodfellow, and coming down through the center city on 8th and 9th Streets, and then further on down Jefferson down to I-55 on the south side as well. So about 17 miles long is what we're looking at for this light rail. About 29 stations, light rail stations, and a little different than what MetroLink is right now. It would be operating in the actual roadway itself instead of in the old railroad cut that's
why will that change?
Since the red and blue line were built, a lot of cities across the U.S. that are light rail cities have decided that they'd rather have it at their, on the street itself. And the main reason for that is economic development. Also, when you put a station in the middle of a street, it sort of activates that neighborhood a little bit more. A lot more people will be walking around. The businesses that are there now increase with the amount of development and economic development they have, and then there's new businesses that will also thrive there, as well as new homes, new apartments, and what have you.
So is it easier to build at street level?
It is. It's easier to build in a railroad area, where a railroad used to be, just because there's not anybody living there right now or driving on there. But what's been done in over almost 30 cities now across the United States is these have been done. So there are you can build them fairly quickly in a street level. So that's what a lot of cities are doing now.
Okay, so Marcie, I'm sure that there's been a lot of conversation over these past years about which direction and where the station should be, which way the line should run. How is it decided at this point to study this north-south? How did that come to be?
So one of the biggest factors in building an expansion for light rail is whether or not we're competitive for federal funds. And a lot of that depends on how many people are going to be riding the system and what it costs and things like that. And this line, of all the lines that we've looked at in the past, has the highest ridership numbers. So
based on based on current use of public transportation in those areas, or
based on, we look at we use a transportation model to come up with projections. Dan can tell you a little bit more about that, but based on those numbers that come out of that, and I think we have some general ideas of about how many people will be riding would be riding this line. It should compete fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those numbers really come from, we're looking not necessarily just right now, but also into the future, like 20 years into the future. So we kind of do forecasts of what could be out there into the future as far as new homes that could be there, new businesses that could be there. The NGA site up on the north side is going to be an important element of that. And right now we're looking at about about 17,000 people would ride this system, the 17-mile-long system from the north side to the south side in the year 2035. So that's where we're forecasting that far out.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like so many puzzle pieces have to come together to figure this out. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about when this might all happen for our region. So stay with us at STL Live. We'll have much more with Northside-Southside Study project after this break.
Great.
Okay, good. So just hang